Do, 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 do. All right, starting to see people join. Good evening, everyone. If you are in Atlanta, I hope that you've been enjoying this wonderful weather that we've had today. I'm personally loving the rain drops like on my window. It's been really relaxing. So, and when it's raining, it gives me a reason to be lazy. And I'm just like, it's raining. I don't feel like doing anything. I don't want to go outside. I don't want to work out. I don't want to make dinner. Like it's raining. So I'm kind of enjoying that. I appreciate you all for joining us this evening. I hope that you have been enjoying the Atlanta Education Expo so far. Today we have another three amazing organizations who are going to be sharing with us about what it looks like to learn beyond standards. And so we are looking forward to learning about these organizations and hearing about the services and products that they provide to schools and students to ensure that learning extends beyond, just like the metrics and standards that might be imposed upon schools and teachers and classrooms. If you are looking to engage with us online and on social media, just make sure that we ask that you use the hashtag ATL Expo. Would love it if you could connect with all of our amazing partners who are participating in conversations and panels this week. And it looks like we have people trickling in and joining. So I am going to go ahead and get started. The evening conversations, I try to end them on time because it is, reaching 6 o'clock. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to give each organization a chance to introduce themselves, to share about who they are, what they do, maybe how they got involved with this work. And then we'll go into some Q&A. Would love to have you guys also ask questions in the chat or using the Q&A feature, and we'll make sure that we incorporate what you want to know and what you want to hear about into the discussion so that we all leave feeling like we participated in a meaningful conversation. So we're going to get started with our organization introductions. The first up is going to be Zakia Davidson, who is the Creative Technical Director at First Evolution Arts.
Hi, can you guys hear me? Okay, good. Okay, I'm going to take just a second to share my screen, if you all don't mind, to have a little presentation to show you guys. Here we go. As she's already stated, my name is Zakia Davidson. I am the Creative Technical Director. I have a bachelor's degree in computer science. I've been in the technology field for over 20 years. And I've also have about 20 years of professional dance and dance education. Evolution Arts is where technology and art collide. We provide training and instruction in computer science, dance, and graphic design. And we provide those services through collaboration of other organizations, such as Gifted on Movement, Girls Who Code, which a lot of people know for Hour of Code, and Zale Fitness. We were officially founded in 2016. We began as an in-school coding and graphic design program installed at Stone Mountain Middle School to assist them in their STEM program. Our mission is to ensure that all schools and communities have STEM programs in which is taught by professionals or degreed individuals. We collaborate with communities as well as individuals to ensure that we are able to provide diverse classes as well as training to everyone that we touch. We have a process that has been proven in DeKalb County as well as many of the Metro Atlanta dance studios. And that process includes Envision, where we envision a process or a possibility that has yet to be created. We learn new skills And from those skills, we create a solution and we show those solutions through an evolutionary process, either through a performance and or through a live web presentation. For our summer, for our summer camps, we have our dance and tech combo class for our pre-K, which is 3 years old to 7. We have our Evolution Dance Project, which is ages 7 and up to 18. And our Evolution Conan Project, which is ages 3 through 18 as well. We have day virtual options available to those that are still not yet confident on coming close in close quarters. And we also provide weekly performances and or live web updates for those that are on the virtual option. Do you guys have any questions?
No questions yet, but thank you so much for the introduction. We will kind of go through all the other organizations and then we'll do some Q&A after that. And Zakia, I'm definitely going to have to connect with you even after this as well. I also run a computer science program specifically for girls of color here in Atlanta and across Georgia. So we'd love to see how we can get your curriculum involved with our girls who love art and dance and things of that nature. So awesome, awesome, awesome. Next up is going to be Danielle Brunson and Kaylee Arnold. They are co-creators of the Namaste Project.
Hi, yes, all right, yes, I'm going to be presenting for us. I'm Dr. Kaylee Arnold from the Namaste Project. And just give me a second to share my screen. All right, so can everyone see this? Hopefully, yes. All right. So, yeah, so the Namaste Project, what we're bringing is social emotional learning for schools and families. Do it manually. All right. We help students and staff immediately. Our mission is to create a tranquil and mindful schools where students and staff can feel safe and promote a real environment for learning. We lower behavioral referrals, suspension and expulsion rates, increase test scores, and student learning via data-based interventions in yoga philosophy. Our goal is to provide high quality, universal social emotional learning to as many students, teachers, and families as possible. So a little bit about our core beliefs. So first, developing skills to cope with stress and promote mindfulness, we feel is as critical to a child's education as math, social studies, and English. Those are life skills that you're going to use going into adulthood. We believe that every child deserves a high quality social emotional education. We feel and we know that every teacher with a sincere positive intention is capable of teaching mindfulness through meditation. We know that classroom teachers are the most effective source of teaching mindfulness. They spend a lot of time with their children. Mindfulness through meditation curriculums and training should be affordable and accessible to all. And lastly, success is to achieve through effective partnerships. So the whole adage of it takes a village. We believe partnerships between educators, students, and their families is what we're going to do to really promote the well-being of our children. So what can we do right now? We implement a program of mindfulness, mind shift, meditation, and physical yoga. What this can help immediately is to allow students and staff to feel grounded and secure in any situation. It helps to lower stress and anxiety, increase focus, provide a physical activity. It helps you respond in a more positive way, a more effective way to trauma, and get to the root of what's actually going on instead of being reactive finding out what is really going on with that student that might be having an outburst. Over time, you'll have an overall increase in your physical well-being, increased test scores, and decreased discipline referrals. So we feel like when you can improve the culture and the academics, these are some of the things that can come out of this. So you can increase staff retention. We know that can be an issue with schools, with revolving door with teachers, increasing overall satisfaction and well-being of the staff, increasing the overall school climate, increasing standardized test scores, GPAs, decreasing detention, suspension, other behavioral referrals, and improving attendance. So to find out more, feel free to book a discovery call with us. It's 100% virtual training right now for your staff. And we do pre-planning sessions right now, hopefully building for the next school year. We also have scholarships that are on a need basis. We have an asynchronous e-course for teachers and parents that you can sign up for now at a discounted rate. And we have 3 courses right now. One is on mindfulness, one on meditation, and one on yoga, or you can get all 3. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook to see our upcoming offerings. And then you can always email us at info@thenamasteproject.net. Right? I'm going to stop sharing. Good. Does anyone have any questions?
If you guys do have questions as they are presenting and sharing about their organizations, definitely feel free to add them in the chat or the Q&A. And then after Aaron goes, we'll be able to get to your questions as well. So last but not least, we have Erin. She's one of the co-founders at Small Bites, Erin Kroom.
Hi, thank you. One moment. All right. Thanks for having me. My name's Erin. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Small Bites Adventure Club. We are a social impact venture based here in Atlanta, and our mission is to create turnkey tools that help children discover, love, and eat their fruits and vegetables. We do that by creating 2 different types of kits. One is the Taste Test Box kit, which is a hands-on kit that we ship monthly that goes out to schools and clubs and after-school programs, and is sort of like a HelloFresh kit, but it's more for hands-on cooking and taste testing. So it's gives teachers everything that they need to do a hands-on food education and learning opportunity where they get to meet the farmers, where they get to taste new foods, and where they get to really connect with fresh local food that maybe they've tried before, maybe they've seen before, but maybe they've never made a recipe with before. So so what's inside is we create the kits for 25 tastes for 25 students. We've got the step-by-step instructions, the taste test survey, so kids can actually vote on the recipe and on the fruit or vegetable. We also have 25 take-home recipes for parents or caretakers. We connect the activities to standards. And we also have I tried it stickers, which strangely enough, you think it's just like little kids that like them, but turns out big kids love their stickers too, and they wear them with pride. So as you can see, here's a few different examples from different months. And we always put our farmers front and center, so kids can get an understanding of who's growing the food. Many of them are from Atlanta, and we really work hard to purchase from minority farmers, Black and brown farmers, and women farmers for lots of reasons. But one being is that we really want kids to be able to see themselves in the products. And we serve metro Atlanta schools, and probably 70–80% are Black and brown kids. So what is a taste test? Just so everybody's on the same page, it's just an activity where they can have some exposure and hands-on learning, and it's meant to be fun. We know that the more opportunities that kids have to smell, try, touch foods, the more likely that they can eat them. And the more we're able to create a strong foundation for not just knowing what fruits and vegetables are, but loving them and eating them, the more likely we are going to set them up for success for long-term health. I think we all know after a year of COVID, the importance of health and nutrition and how important it is to have a foundation of health. So this is an opportunity to give kids a way to expose them and change lifelong behaviors in a way that's really fun and standards-based. So also wanted to mention we have farm to home kits that we started creating that go directly to homes and great for virtual activities that have much longer lessons in there. And then here's some pictures of our farmers. And I did want to mention, certainly that cross-curricular standards-based work that happens, and really, getting to know your farmers in your neighborhood. We've also incorporated some COVID-19 considerations. So kids are still able to do these activities, and with an emphasis on hand washing and food safety. And I'll end there. If you have any questions, please reach out and check us out on Instagram. And we have a lot of really great videos on YouTube that we'd love to have you check out. Meet a farmer, learn a recipe, sing a song about strawberries. We got them all.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you, Erin. Okay, so we are moving into our Q&A moderation portion of the panel. And we're going to go in the same order that we went in terms of who is going to share first. And also, I don't think I introduced myself at the beginning of this panel. So I'm Kristina Newton, founder of HYPE. We are a nonprofit organization. We work to connect Black and brown girls with technology as education. And we're also the co-host for the Atlanta Education Expo. So really excited to be a part of this event. And for this panel, the topic of the panel is called Learning Beyond Standards. And so Zakia, will let you answer first, but what are some things that you believe schools can put into practice and put in place that normalize these types of learning opportunities that you guys are introducing inside the classroom?
Hi, can you hear me? Okay, great. So my space is technology and art space, conservatory arts, which includes dance, graphic design, and with my graphic design, it also includes a bit of video editing. So some of the tools that can be put in place is, of course, having great internet connection, accessible computers and or laptop devices, as well as, that's for the technology portion. For the conservatory arts portion, a nice, safe dance space. And when I say nice, a floor that may or may not have some type of spring form to it. Hardwood floors would be nice. A gym is always a great place to have a dance class. We also, for the video editing, we do bring our own equipment. We have cameras as well as lighting that we provide. So just a nice open space to be able to record. Sometimes that is also a gym area or a empty classroom. Um, and and as well as the ability to just access the internet. We like for those students that are in the technology courses to be able to upload their work, not just to their personal website. We do give them a domain, a safe domain to upload web work, but for them to allow to email themselves out any additional work or pictures or images that they may have created within our class.
Yeah, and it sounds so, simple, simple but not so simple. Saying like you would think, right? Creating the space, having internet connection, having devices, but for me being someone who's gone across Georgia, visited lots of different schools, and I think that we've seen from COVID, as well, it's highlighted how a lot of schools just don't have, they don't have devices for every student. They don't have extra
No,
space. They barely have enough space in their classroom for all of the students, to kind of sit together. And so it's one of those things where I definitely feel, teachers are having to figure out how to be creative to transform their spaces into areas or into environments where students can be supported. The whole student can be supported, and they can learn beyond just what the standards and the metrics of, kind of how the school is being judged or graded for each student. And so I would love to kind of hear, even from Danielle, Kaylee, Aaron, like, how do you feel schools and organizations can be creative and innovative, again, in bringing these types of learning opportunities into their classroom, especially for teachers who might not have the autonomy or authority to be like, yeah, like let's get a gym, or let's get some new computers. The Namaste Project, Danielle and Kaylee, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, as far as how schools can be, I've seen so much creativity this year, first in how schools are making things accessible to students. And I think that says a lot for teachers, honestly. I know school leadership is doing it, but teachers are really stepping up and figuring out ways to make this work in hybrid, virtual, in person. It's been amazing. I have a background in virtual education. So to see teachers who've never done that work and the ability to, find a way around it has been really great. So I definitely understand what you guys are mentioning with not every student having access to a device. And I think that when we see what's going on this year, I know we would have students who would try to enroll from rural parts of Georgia in our virtual school, and they didn't have good internet connections. And I mean, these things are huge. So when I was listening just to the original question, and I was thinking about accessibility, I really loved what Aaron had to say about putting the farmers that look like the kids in front of them. And when it comes for what we do and it being accessible, I think about mindfulness and meditation and yoga. Sometimes it's not viewed in a way where people want their kids or their staff to do it. And we sometimes get resistance there. I'm from Latinx, Kaylee's African American. The majority of our staff is from a variety of diverse backgrounds, and our students too. And we hear a lot of resistance occasionally, like, wait a minute, meditation, we're just going to pray, so in our communities, it can be a challenge to bring in this beautiful practice that is so accessible. And once you learn it, free all the time, right? So I think about normalizing it for us is making it accessible in a way where we let students and parents see people who look like them doing it. We try to bring in athletes. We just had an NFL speaker talk at a school, so they see these people that they look up to doing these practices, and that normalizes it for them, and then they want to do it more and more. My thing, Kaylee, too, anything we can to get it in front of you and get you practicing breathing and meditating. We use censored version of hip hop music, all these things in our yoga classes. We want kids to have fun and really want to do it. But I also think about normalizing in the sense of it being equitable for everyone. And I also just, same thing goes back to computers, but for us, our work has a lot to do with trying to help kids come to school on the same level emotionally, right? So we know kids show up in all these different ways, virtually, in person, it doesn't matter. They're still showing up in different ways. So a lot of the thoughts I have around giving them that equal footing and coming in the door and having that time to sit and center and breathe, and then everyone in the class has a chance to kind of self-regulate, has really been a big thing for us as well. Like, how can we make it equitable for every student who maybe is coming from a home where there's a lot of chaos in the morning, or someone who's coming from a home where it's calm? We want you to come in and have the same opportunity. So it's kind of all goes together. Like, how can we just give everybody everything that they need? But as far as like the creativity, I just want to commend every teacher who's watching this. You guys are really kicking butt this year. Super impressed with, I've seen teachers creating these spaces in their homes. I think the dancing, we do something similar with yoga. They're like, we're going to put a yoga space in our living room. I've seen people like make a hallway a yoga space. So I just think just thinking outside the box has been huge this year.
Yeah. And do you guys primarily work directly with the teachers so that they can incorporate this meditation and mindfulness with their students, or do you do any direct service like to students themselves?
So what kind of sets us apart is that our mission initially was to train the trainers. So we have mindfulness curriculum program, trauma-informed response, empathetic listening, geared towards the teachers, because like Danielle was saying, they have been through a lot this year on top of everything that they already go through. And so we were coming from a space where we really wanted to support them and empower them with these mental health tools of, they're coming to school with their own baggage, with their own, emotions, and then they have to deal with 30 kids in a classroom or whatever it is. And so, yeah, so ideally we would like to work with the trainers, and that's anybody who has contact with a child, teacher, principal, counselor, whomever, equip them with these practices of mindfulness and breath work and meditation. Because what we tell people, for you to see a change throughout the whole school, you have to have the adult buy-in. You have to have the adults leading by example. And usually when we do like these free mini mind breaks for staff. And when we just do like 15 minutes of breathing and meditation.
You're still there.
Yeah, am I still here?
Yeah, we can hear you. And
Okay, my screen went away. But when the teachers or the adults feel it in their body, then it's almost an automatic buy-in for them. They're like, oh, this is how I feel when I do this. And then they can teach it to their students. So we do, to make your answer your question, we do teach teachers, but we also have a school that we were working directly with the students. When we do these programs, we work with the school to decide what kind of program do they want. Do they want it to be heavy on staff, training on staff, or do they want to be heavy on the students? We always tell them that you really need a combination of the two, right? You really need both the, the adult buy-in and the student buy-in, but the yoga classes for the kids are a lot of fun, and we like working with the kids. We do small group social emotional learning with the kids, and they love it. Little art creative exercises that teach them, social awareness, whatever it is. So we come from both angles. It's just really what the school wants and what the school needs.
Awesome. Thanks. And Erin, you can respond to the initial question. What are some things that schools can put into place to normalize these learning opportunities inside their classroom?
Well, ditto to what Danielle was saying. I definitely, teachers are doing awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. And if you wanted to explore food education and farmers and nutrition, I think, we can get really overwhelmed with the idea of teaching food. And, we're in this like third generation of people who don't cook, don't know a farmer. And so it can feel very overwhelming if you don't feel comfortable, cooking or about nutrition, to turn around and teach kids about it. But really, what we're proposing is to be an adventure with them, get curious together. There are so many questions about food that we don't even think about. I mean, did you know like cashews are a seed? Like I just found that out this week. That's so cool. And I found that out because my kid asked me, I was like, I actually don't know where cashews come from. And I think, because food is one of those things we all eat, it does all bring us together. It's a way to explore different cultures. It's a way to explore our environment, our communities. It's just such a great jumping off point for nutrition, but for so much more. Our economies, taste buds, biology of your body. And I think it's something that anybody can get excited about, anybody can get interested in. And it is such an important, topic, particularly around health and nutrition. But I think what we'd like to focus on is really the fun and adventure around food, and how much joy it can really bring a kid to discover their new favorite food, and for a teacher to be surprised at any age what kids will try and what kids will eat and what kids will bring home to their parents, and have that trickle up effect to make lasting changes through these taste tests. So
Thanks. We are going to begin kind of looking at some of the questions that are coming in from our attendees. And, I can just kind of speak as being someone who does work in computer science and tries to provide, like sometimes might suggest offering curriculum or things like that to teachers in schools. One of the things that we get pushback on is, working with schools where they don't have a computer science teacher. They don't have anyone who feels like they can even take like this curriculum and use it in the classroom. And so I'm sure that you guys might run into some of the same things. Danielle, you mentioned it with the mindfulness and the meditation. Zakia and Aaron, you might experience the same. So how do you kind of broach those conversations, and how do you move forward with engaging with teachers or administrators that might be nervous or, insecure about, or even concerned even about bringing these services into their classrooms?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I always have to check. So what we do provide training to the teachers. We have curriculum outlined for elementary school, middle school, as well as pre-K and high school, pre-K all the way up to high schools, to simplify it. And we provide that as well. The training can last anywhere from 2 weeks to half of a semester. We don't normally go past half of a semester. After that time, we allow them to decide if they want us to stay on at, at, at another option rather than just training, that we're actually coming in teaching. So we have those tracks. So we're either coming in training, or just providing curriculum, or providing training with a transition in either teaching and or training with continued curriculum ongoing.
Ours is similar. I mean, we train the staff. We have a different business model. Sometimes people kind of are like, what? Because we want to come into schools and we want to work with you for a year or two, and then we want to leave. So our goal is to teach you how to do everything so we can get into as many schools as possible. And our favorite hashtag is spread the calm, because, we're like, how many schools can we get these practices into? Teachers definitely feel nervous. We have a rollout model where we have them teach each other, teach us. We do a big video series and we work with them. I was a school leader for a very long time and a school leader coach. So I understand also like the strategic planning behind rolling out programs like this with teachers, like who's going to buy in, and do you need data? Do you need stories? And what kind of method to reach the staff, because staff buy-in is huge if you want a program to work well. If they don't like it or they don't want to do it, it's really hard, especially when it's not one of these core academic that, we get so much pressure about focusing on in education. So as Kaylee mentioned, when we have teachers and principals and all the different people who work with kids breathing and meditating, they feel it immediately. So it's really nice. It's not a program that sometimes takes a longer period of time to see the results, like maybe where you do math interventions and you need 2 or 3 years of data. This is pretty immediate. So that really helps with buy-in. And then our programs, we always offer the accessibility, hey, we're here to help you. We want you to be successful. I'm sure Erin finds similar things with eating, like, it's like, try it, do it. And then they're just like kind of buy in because it's like that immediate thing. They're right away able to access the benefits and see the outcome in students.
Awesome. Erin, I don't know if you have anything else to add or share.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. There is immediate reactions, and sometimes, it's so funny. Like last month, we did a 1, 2, 3 vinaigrette, and it's really simple. It's 1 part mustard, 2 parts vinegar, and 3 parts olive oil. And we sent them to, I want to say it was like 50 or 60 different programs. And the responses were just across the chart. Like I got emails immediately that night, like, can you please resend that recipe? We want to make it for dinner. It was so great. And then I get pictures the next day of these kids that are like, rah, like, oh, it's terrible. And the whole point, it's so funny. It's like, that peer pressure, like one kid loves it, and the whole class kind of follows that lead. But the point is that kids tried something new. They were exposed to something new. They had a new way to describe it. It wasn't just, is it good or is it bad? It was spicy. It was vinegary. It was, it made my tongue tingle in a way I wasn't, and those are great new experiences. Kids are learning new words, learning, and now it's not scary anymore. And I think that's the bottom line, is exposure leads to kids not being literally terrified of new foods. That neophobia is taken away, and teachers too. Like, we were all raised in a different time of canned green beans and frozen peas, and it was a different time for vegetables. And so it really is a new time for us to open up the refrigerator and explore some new foods as well. So I can't remember what the question was. It was about challenges, I think, though.
Yeah, I mean, basically like challenges that you might come against from schools.
Oh yeah, I was going to say funding is such a big thing. I wanted to mention the SHAPE grant is a wonderful resource for Georgia schools. It comes up once a year. It'll come back up again, I think in September or October. It's the Georgia SHAPE grant, and you can get up to $5,000 for your school that your school can control. It's not district level. It's really great. The Whole Kids Foundation has a grant that comes up twice a year. Kids Gardening has a grant that comes up several times a year. So these are good grants, PTA grants. I think if this is something that's interesting to you, address your local PTA or those foundations. I also wanted to mention that every school district has a wellness policy, and you may not know what it is, but the Child Nutrition Reauthorization Act made it a federal rule that every school district had to have a wellness policy, and that's going to come back up. But in many of these things that we're talking about need to be included in there. So if you feel like you're getting pushback from your principal or your nutrition, I mean, I don't feel like anybody would give you pushback, but if you feel like you are, you can always look and say, what is our policy, and how does what I want to do fit into this policy? And I think that can really bring a lot of support to what you want to do.
Yeah, Erin, you bring up a good point, because this category is called learning beyond standards, but a lot of what you guys are sharing is, even for buy-in to occur, it's a little bit of you kind of have to see it to believe it, and then to buy in first. And so I would imagine that, part of your sales cycle is maybe trying to help schools identify where these programs do align with their standards and do support policies that exist, and things of that nature. So, if that is something that you can share right now, I think the Namaste Project, you had it even in your introduction, Erin, you might have as well. But what actual school standards have you identified that your programs do support to kind of help make the case and support your case in bringing this into the schools?
Our curriculum is all aligned with CASEL, so we hit all the SEL standards that we're ready to adjust. We've heard that they may be adjusting for next year a little bit, but everything we do is aligned with that. And then as far as the core academics, we try to work with teachers, because social emotional learning has always been this independent thing, but we want you to integrate these things into all of your different classes, because really we know that kids can't learn if they're not feeling good, right? So if they're not calm and relaxed. So we really talk a lot about how to incorporate it into, before you write, maybe do this breathing or do that and whatnot. So yeah, we're really big on making it a part of the whole day. But yeah, we're definitely standards aligned, and then same thing with our physical program, PE standard aligned. And we have some eating components, definitely not as much as Erin, but I think that the eating is such a huge part of overall health and well-being. So I love what she's doing, and the dancing, everything like that, I think is so important. And schools know this. Sometimes it can be hard to focus on it, but this year we have seen how important schools are outside of just math, especially. So I really love this conversation, being part of a group with all of you all, because we've known it for a long time, and now it's becoming more. We're hearing more and more schools reaching out. Oh, hey, maybe we do need to think about these things. And even though they may not match right up with this math standard, they will influence the ability to do math. If you're hungry, or you don't have the right nutrition, or you haven't gotten out some of that energy through some dance or breathe to calm yourself down, how are you going to sit down and learn these fractions? And I think that teachers and principals are really seeing that a lot this year, which has been one of the blessings that's come out of the kind of stress that we've had in 2020, 2021.
For us, we follow the CTAE curriculum model. That's the computer technology, agriculture, engineering, and the fine arts standard curriculum for our in-school and after school program. Summer camps as well, just to ensure that we can ensure our numbers are, still staying focused and in line with our goals and mission.
Yep, and we focus on the national science standards, the after school program standards. Ag education has standards now in Georgia, though it's more K through 5th, but for the new pilot program. But yeah, it's certainly under CTAE. And I would say, if you are struggling with the standard, let us know and we'll connect it. There are so many fun activities. When I love getting that question, how would I connect the standard to food?
Yeah. If you're struggling with a standard, let us know. So one of the questions that came in talks about, it says that the benefits of your programs seem pretty self-evident, right? And that's great. But with the pressures of testing and now learning loss, are you finding that teachers and school leaders are less open to creative engagement like these looking ahead?
No. Danielle just stated, it's quite evident, especially now with the results of COVID, and everyone turning to virtual, of needing an artistic outlet, whether it be something like dance, something creative such as Erin with the gardening, and as well as the taste testing and the mindfulness it's all needed. It's holistic learning that is really getting the students through this time. So to take it, it would make sense to take it away. So it's been what, a year now that we had no summer camps, no after school programming. I really think the students are so hungry for what we all have to offer here that that the schools have to answer the call.
Yes, and as far as testing goes, studies show that, like Danielle was talking, if kids aren't focused, if they're in what we call that fight or flight or sympathetic part of their nervous system, they're not going to be able to sit down and focus to take a test. You can drill them with all the exercises of math and whatever, but they're not going to be able to retain or perform if their nervous system is not calm. And so I tell Danielle all the time, so I'm a retired doctor, so I spent my entire time being tested. No one gets tested more than doctors. And I remember, I think I really noticed it when I was in college that, I would know all the information, but I was one of those overachievers. And this is what we see a lot from students now, is not so much the kids that are struggling, but it's actually the kids who are overachievers, who put so much more added pressure on themselves, that I remember going to a test and being blank and like couldn't remember anything. And it was all because I was so hyped up. And I was just saying, gosh, if I had these skills that I know now as a yoga teacher, like how to do alternate nostril breathing before an exam, that would have been life-changing for me 20 years ago. And so when we explain this to teachers, like, listen, you can tell your kids all this information and have them study and review, but if a child cannot be focused and have their nervous system be calm and just learn to breathe, then you're just not going to get the results that you want to see. So we tell them, if you want your kids to have those beautiful test scores, they need to learn to breathe. It's very simple, and it's a lifelong skill.
Wow. I wish I could go back in time and have the Namaste Project at my school. I was totally that kid that blanked out at every test. Just stared at the paper. That's incredible. That's incredible. What a great testimony.
All right, so we have time for a couple more questions. There's one question in the chat or in the Q&A for our panelists that you can respond to. You can kind of type it back. You can type your response to them. So it says, what does communications look like with organizations that partner with you? So, maybe you can also share in the chat your websites or things like that for others to find and communicate with you or reach out to you. But my first of the last two questions that I would like for all three of you to answer is, the first is, what do you wish your clients knew? I think sometimes when we look at these, beyond learning standard curriculums and resources and tools and things like that, like you guys are in very niche sectors and verticals, and it might take a lot to convince or to really help your clients to understand what it is that you've spent so much time learning and knowing and building from your information regarding. So what if you could, think of one or two things that you just wish your clients knew? What would that be?
Can you guys hear me? Okay. For me, the plight rather for evolution arts, or the growth of it, is something that comes from my own heart. As I stated, I have a technology background, and I've loved dance and art all my life. And I've managed to be able to have a life in both sectors. And I think for me, that the only way that I was able to get through a lot of life troubles, as well as not get too high up on the high horse, so to speak, when I've gotten mountains, is by staying grounded in being able to do my dance and still be able to do my creativity, such as my artwork and growing in my graphic design. So when I teach, I teach from that aspect. When I go to schools as well as to community centers, I tell them, I don't try to, push them to buy my services, but just try to tell them to the best of my ability that students need this in some type of shape, form, or fashion. To be able to have some type of outlet that they know that they can grow and develop outside of the realms of just math and science, and the 1+1 = 2. And I feel that the services that I provide allows for those visions to kind of come to play in their minds, some things that they never knew that they could create, some things that they never knew that they could do when they could dance. Oh my gosh, I'm doing a double turn now, or the leg has gotten up higher than what it's gotten before. So all of those things, I think for me, is some of the things that I would hope to tell my potential school or client.
And just a follow-up question for you, Zakia. How do you make that connection between dance and technology, or computer science?
Oh,
How do you make that
so it's one of the things that I do. Technology is really all about zeros and ones. So zeros and ones is really nothing more than a math problem that you have to solve. And when you dance, dance is broken down into a routine that has a set of counts. And those counts can change based on your rhythm, which is also another math equation. So I include the math, the technology, the dance, on how all of those kind of entwine, and you play off the left and the right side of your brain during the creative process. It keeps the kids entertained and on their toes, and it allows them in a dance routine when they have issues or problems where they feel like they can't do something. I hate the word can't. I can't do anything. I can't do this. This is too hard. Break it down into a simplest form, like you would do a math problem. And it's the same with technology. When you have a potential issue or potential problem, you want to break it down to its smallest form in order to, basically get it out on a diagram to develop some type of solution.
Thank you for breaking that down for us. Danielle or Kaylee, what's one thing that you wish that your clients knew?
First, I really want to do your program. I want to dance with zeros and ones. It sounds amazing. So I love that. We'll have to connect. I feel like this is not just clients and just in general, because it can seem intimidating to bring programs like this in or to want to do something different. It's just to be accepting that to be patient with yourself, to be accepting, to be curious. Like all of these things we want to see in our students is things that we want our clients or really we're our partners, we call them, because we feel like we go in and we partner with you to change your school and change your student culture. Is just to practice that grace and that resilience, and to know that mindfulness, meditation, and yoga are simple, but they're also a practice, and they're things that you have to try every day. And you're going to wake up some days, and as a parent, as a teacher, in any role in your life, and it's going to be wonderful, and some days aren't, and that's okay. And I think that's something that we really focus on, is just giving educators like a break and some rest. And same thing with kids, teaching them that resilience and that giving themselves that grace. That's my touchy-feely answer, and I think it's something we all need to hear more of, that it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to have a bad day. And that's what we're here for, is to help to figure out tools to deal with that, because that's never going to go away.
And I would just add that I would tell people that small things really do make a large impact, right? So when people ask me, what do you do to stay so calm? I say, I breathe. And they're like, what? I breathe. And just simple things like we said, our motto is to spread the calm. You teach that one the gift of how to calm their emotions. And every time we have a lesson with our kids, we tell them, whatever you learned from us today, you have to pick one or two people to teach that to. And it's so great because they actually become their own little mindfulness experts. And they'll say, well, no, today we learned lion's breath. And for lion's breath, you learn to release anger and frustration if you just need to let it go. And so I'll never forget this little boy at the end of the class. I said, all right, so does everyone have one or two people they're going to share this lion's breath with? And this little boy raised his hand. He said, I'm going to share it with my mama because she needs lion's breath. And it was just like, oh my goodness, it was so cute. But just the awareness of like, okay, who needs this and how can I share it? And then that person's going to learn it and feel better. And so again, a tiny impact, a tiny change can make a large impact. That's what I would tell any school leader. It might seem so simple, but it's going to be huge.
I like that. The one thing that I would love to share with a client is our amazing team. So I'm just here today, but we have the coolest folks. We've got Chef Asada Reed, who has years and years of experience, obviously being a chef, but she's also got a master's of public health and she cooks with kids all the time. So all of her recipes are just spot on and awesome. She has such a great intuitive way of talking about food and connecting with people. We have a certified educator, Jenna Mobley, that creates all of our materials and makes them very student facing and standards aligned. And we also have a farmer on our team who is also our COO, and she has helped, or she was the president of Peach Dish, which was a really great meal kit company. So she knows how to package and ship food safely. And we've got lots of other great farmers and advisors. We've got an RDN coming on to our team as well next week. So we just have a really incredible team. And I just think they're the best.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay, guys, last question. I feel like right now we have the unique opportunity where schools, teachers, education in general might be primed to consider finally doing something different. I think that, it's been years before, we have ever even thought about changing the way education looks or trying something different or out of the box or innovating, but we might be open to it now. So if you can look 30 years, into the future, and things could potentially change or look differently, what would you want education to look like? So in 2050, what would you want education to look like in the future?
2050. Oh, wow. Okay. On a spaceship, I guess. That would be kind of awesome. I would hope that they would give students the opportunity of variety. Not so, again, give the foundation, give the core classes. Yes, we need our science. Yes, we need our English and we need our math. But it is so many flavors of job possibilities, of skill possibility, that a person could possibly learn. And when you're young, your brain is such a sponge, to be able to soak up anything and everything. So, in third grade, you may want to be a chef. So yes, go to Erin and learn all this nice, cool cooking things. But by fifth grade, you may want to, get some Zen in your life. So go and have a class that is extracurricular, that may not be PE. You want to go and do yoga instead, to have those options available. And those options are not there right now. The options, and if they are there, you have to go to a specialized schools in a specialized area that is usually by, a wait list, because you know, there's so few and far in between. So my hope would be to, you see a lot more schools that have the ability to have, like I said, those variety of classes.
I love variety. I think that was great. I don't know if you guys seen this meme. I can't remember it exactly, but it was like, I'm so glad that I have all this like physics or something knowledge during tax season. You know, it was basically like I learned all of these things, but how is it helping me in my real life? And I think that that is something as technology has increased, like I don't know why we have to go so deep into some things for people who at high school age, a lot of times, like kind of a general area, right? And we have these computers and these phones that do all these amazing things. So maybe shifting to some more practical knowledge would be really helpful. But of course, mental health, I think, is huge. And I've said this, it's very hard to fix adults, but if we can get to kids now, by 2050, think about what the world would be like if you could drive down the road in Atlanta and someone didn't cut you off and flip you the bird and cuss you out all at the same time because they knew how to self-regulate and calm down, right? I mean, think about how politicians would be if they could learn how to practice empathy in school. And all of the issues that we have, which I could go on and on about, I'll get on my soapbox, but I think it's really accurate. People are responding in ways that aren't really the best way because they don't have that mental health support. And we really need to start providing that in public schools more. It should be accessible, it should be free, and it should be something that we teach kids so they can grow up into adults. We want adults who know how to respond instead of react, who know how to calm themselves, who know how to think, hey, this isn't just about me. There are other people here that I need to consider. So I'd really love to see that become a much larger part of education, because I think that would make a huge difference in everything else.
And just to piggyback on that, I would like to see just the entire culture of the school and the climate change where it's really a safe and nurturing environment for our kids, a place where they actually want to go and not fear punishment or isolation or ridicule. We work on phasing out detention and in-school suspension, replacing those things with Zen zones and calming corners. And it wouldn't be beautiful, if the kid had an outburst, instead of being punished, he was sent somewhere with nice music and learn how to calm himself down. And, that's something that leaves a lasting impression on a child of how to deal with their issues, right? As opposed to just isolating them and making them feel bad. So in the future, I see no detention, no suspensions, happy, calming, safe, nurturing environment for our kids.
Well, that's just beautiful and really hard to top. I hope that for our kids in 2050. Yeah, I think it would be really awesome if every kid who graduated knew how to grow their own food and knew how to make 5 healthy, balanced meals for themselves by the time they turned 18.
I'm still trying to learn that.
Right? What if we had knocked that out in high school? That would have been awesome.
Oh, man.
There's still time.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. I love everything that you guys are doing. And I wish that, I do believe that everyone recognizes the importance and the benefits of what you're doing, but I do wish that we did give it a little bit more of a priority in our lives and in the lives of our kids. So appreciate all of the work that you're doing. For those of you who are looking to tune in tomorrow, we will be having another panel discussion tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. And the afternoon panel discussion is going to be about, what's the live conversation about tomorrow? I'm not sure. We're going to explore how building relationships can lead to transformational student progress. So we're going to have 3 other organizations, amazing organizations join us tomorrow for that live discussion. But thank you all for tuning in this evening. And if you didn't make it this evening, you can watch the recording later. But I will let you all go. Have a wonderful evening. And thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.